Got to be here because we got to see
This
what.
Three Beards Media podcast may contain mature themes, and if you're not down with that, we got 3 words for you. Like the podcast. Nailed it!
Drop it.
Welcome back to another edition of the Ball Don't Lie podcast. I'm live here with Justin Smool as always, and we are here for Season 4, E2, and our second episode at our new home, Three Beards Media. It's been everything and more so far. Chris and those guys have been amazing, especially Chris. He does a lot for us too. But Smool, welcome back, buddy.
Yeah, man. Good to be back. Another first week under our belt. So yeah, we're both pumped that the season is here, and
We are.
We were pretty excited come Monday night.
So as we mentioned last week, we got in the circa, pick 5 millions. What was it called? The circa millions? I was getting
Circa millions, yeah.
Called the circa millions. So Justin and I entered that before the season started. We went halvesies on it, and I tell you what, it's always fun to have this kind of therapy session for this podcast almost, because for us because we disagree on picks a lot.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna have a few today.
Yeah, sure. So for us to find 5 picks to play is always the big thing, but we did, and we went 5-0.
We did, yeah. I mean, we just kind of we both agreed, right away. I mean, we'll dive into it a little bit later, but here it's up for you. But
W. We were 2 better than a website, man. There's 2 more W's than that, and that's when you know you got a good week when you're picking 5, when you have more W's than a website.
Yeah, I mean, it helped, right? Like, you like the Packers, and I just told you there, and then you kind of you rode me with the Dolphins, and then really it was your call on Monday. You're like, man, what are we at? Because we were just kind of like, we need to find one more, and I was like,
I like the Jets, and then we had the sweat, the ultimate sweat, and 4 plays in, Rodgers goes down, they're down at halftime. It's like 4-1's a great start. That's kind of where we're at for that. But
I love that. I love Zach Wilson.
And for some reason, we played the Falcons because I love that too. And I kept them off last week, but the Falcons were my biggest single play. And they didn't even make my card last week, which made me really frustrated. I bet the most single game on that. And you saw what my bank account happened. I hit 7 out of 8 teams on a round robin on my NFL Sunday. So it made all the money back and some more from that cold Saturday that I had. Sure. Like you said, those are just the appetizers. You get your main course and get full on Sundays, and that happened for sure.
Right. Well, let's dive into the appetizers. What do you say?
I love it, man. Let's get to it. So recap last week just a little bit. A slow start. I went 1-4 last week. My only win getting home was Iowa.
Yeah.
So let's just start there with that game last week a little bit. We won't spend too much time on the actual games aside, but it's Cy-Hawk game. Yep. Look, it went exactly how I said. We talked about it. How does Iowa win? Special teams, and how does Iowa State lose games? Special teams, it happened again, and then the defensive touchdown.
Yep. It was pretty much.
McNamara talked about it too. I'm not used to defenses scoring this much. They score all the time. It's not shocking. Nope. It's incredible. I mean, you have one of the best D coordinators, if not the best D coordinator, and for sure the best special teams coordinator in the nation in Iowa State.
And they'll find another way to waste another year on a great defense.
Well, you maybe have the worst offensive coordinator in the nation too. I still stand by Kirk, but there's no defending Brian anymore at this point. I mean, it is what it is. But look, another win for Iowa. It's setting up for them again too with that schedule. Like, what are they going to do though, Smool? You've seen the schedule, and you've been very clear in your stance with your thoughts on the Big Ten West. May it RIP after this year, but they still have one more year of it. I see a 10-2 season. Like they might get mollywopped by, Penn State, but I mean, actually, without their schedule in front of me, like I just see them winning 10 games again.
Yeah, I mean I don't have it either in front of me, but just kind of off top of the head, right? I know they're at Penn State, they're at Wisconsin, and then they're at Nebraska. I believe those are the three hardest. But yeah, I mean,
Nebraska. How's that looking right now, though? It's
yeah, right. I mean, but later, I feel like they'll make improvements late. But I mean, yeah, it's too far out.
Oh, I completely agree. I'm a big Matt Rule guy. I think you're kind of a fan too.
So, I just think I said it from the beginning. Like to me, if you're an Iowa fan, it's big. If you don't win the Big Ten West, it's an absolute failure every season, and you won't convince me otherwise.
Sure, and there's no way to go around about that. But last week we saw a little bit. Rocco doesn't have the biggest arm. I think you and I are texting during the game. I don't think he's a bad quarterback by any means. But in a year that, we'll see. I think he needs to get a couple more games. But, by week 5 or 6, if you're sitting at 1-4, 2-4, 2-4, do you go to J.J. Cole? Because doesn't it just kind of seem like that's going to be the plan?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it has to be right. Like you don't bring that type or that caliber.
Sure. 6'7", 250 freshman, true freshman. That's a big boy too. It's not like he's not a body that needs to get ready either. So, but for me, I completely get not thrown in the fire. But
I get that too.
I just think it's really important for Rocco to have a chance to keep the job for the year. And I could be completely wrong. I'm not an insider. I don't have any of that stuff. But on a slow start, doesn't it just seem like it's going to be Cole eventually? And if that is the plan, you get into some of these games you're not going to win. Wouldn't you like to see him a little bit, even if it's just sparingly? I hate a 2-quarterback system, but if there's an absolute package or something in play,
I mean, yeah. If the offense struggles here, if it struggles again this weekend on the road at Ohio, and you get in the conference play the first couple games, I mean. Clearly, TCU doesn't have a good defense. Colorado proved that, right? So if the offense struggles this week and next week, then I think you got to really look in the mirror and say, okay, we're 4 games in. We might have to make a different move here.
Abu is a real deal, by the way. That guy's got some boost.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I like that kid a lot.
Norton. First of all, we got to stop throwing so many targets to Norton on the outside of the hashes. I don't mind dump passes or, checkdowns, but there was like some set routes to him. He dropped a couple balls. There's a lot going on there for that too.
It'll probably be the best defense they face. It'll be the best defense they face though all year.
Oh, for sure it will be. Yeah. But McNamara looked okay, I guess. It felt like an upgrade, but like if you went through the box scores and just put Petrus his name in there, they'd be beating him up this week.
Fact, 100%.
So for me, it's like, look, the ball does come out different. He looks more poised. He's not healthy, so we'll see on him.
It's Ferentz's fingerprints written all over it, man. He'll turn you into a horrible quarterback. Period. I'm
not ready to go that far, but I'm not. I usually done with you, but why don't we lead into the? You talked a little bit about Ohio, just kind of getting some lines this week because. Yeah. I only have 3 plays this week for our appetizer menu. Okay. Right away, I told you too. I go, why the hell are we going to Ohio to play a football game? And then the more I just did some research on it too, and I heard it might have been Randy Peterson talking about it, and then it made complete sense again. Their recruiting in that Ohio base is very big. Campbell's got ties in there. Heacock's got ties in there too. This is flat out. They're doing this to get eyeballs on recruits, to get them really close to come see them play live. That's the reason for it. So I've completely 180'd my stance on that. It makes complete sense now why they're playing at Ohio now. It's recruiting, and that makes a lot of sense. Here's where it doesn't make sense, though. When you open as a 2-point favorite, Zal, on the road, it's at 3 now. You can't go in there and lose this game.
Correct. No, that's a bad look. You lose it. That's bad, really bad look.
You have to go in and win this game. And so for me, and that reason only, and if I think they're going to win the game, I'm going to take the points for that reason. It's this low. It's up to 3 now. Yep. I'm going to take the Cyclones because I think this is a must-win for this football team to have any chance to build something going forward. Even just to build the recruiting class. You lose this game, we might be behind the 8 ball a little bit. And Campbell's not on the hot seat, but certainly, he's going the next season going, it's warm.
Oh,
it's not hot, but it's starting to get warm, right? If you a 3-9, 4-8 season out there, it's got to be.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is on my card actually as well. So I agree. This is a really get right game here. I mean, in terms of the hot seat, like you can't go win one conference game again this year.
No,
like that's just not acceptable, right? And I do think like a good year, truthfully, like you probably agree, is that if they would somehow make a bowl game out of this, like that would be a successful year for this team.
But you're in what, year 7 though? Like you have to put your standard back at making a bowl game, even in a rebuilding year. That's where it's got to be at and land for me to have this. Now the problem is these teams we thought weren't supposed to be very good this year, Okie State and Cincinnati. That might not be the case now, too. So that schedule just went from being, all right, maybe we can pick one here and there. The Big 12 is a gauntlet, man. And by gauntlet, I don't mean it's so top-heavy, you're going to be competing for natties, even though Texas might be pretty damn good last week. Great call on that.
I had them.
Fantastic call on that. There's not a layup. The bottom half of the conference is you got to come to play, even for the guys on the top like Texas. There's no you can't just show up and win the game anymore. There used to be a lot of the bottom stuff. I mean, Iowa State used to be one of them. A team you come in and beat up on, and Kansas used to be a team you come beat up on. It's not that way anymore. No. The bottom end of the Big 12 is stingy. They're scrappy, and you never want to play with anybody on the road in this conference.
I mean, to just further, I know we're talking a lot about the Big 12, but I mean, Baylor really had Utah on the ropes last week, and Texas Tech had kind of a really gross loss in that ending. To Oregon, right? I mean, those are two teams projected to be at the bottom of the league with Iowa State, quite frankly.
Yeah. So it sounds like we both have Iowa State -3 on the card at Ohio. It opened up at 2. It's sitting at 3 right now. If you're listening live and you're thinking about this game, I would go do that. I wouldn't be shocked to see like the hook or maybe even get to 4 by kickoff on this. If it goes the other way and the Sharks are coming different, man, I don't know. We'll see. But this is a must-win for Iowa State, so it sounds like it's going to make the card for both of us.
Yep, it's on mine too. So
I'll let you lead off again because, like I said, I only have 3 plays this week.
All right, I'll give a couple here. I'll make them. First one, I'm going to go Western Kentucky plus 29.5 against Ohio State. If you've watched Ohio State, you can't be impressed so far with what you've seen. I think offensively, there's some quarterback issues going on right now. They just don't present that kind of high flying look like they've had in the past. Even though Marvin Harrison Jr. is a stud, Western Kentucky, high powered offense. The quarterback, I think his last name is Reed, if I remember right. Led the nation in passing last year. I mean, they're going to sling it all over the field here. I just think they get a couple points or they get a couple scores. On top of that, it's a huge look ahead. Ohio State has Notre Dame on deck next week, so that's
all right. I mean, and that's just a lot of points, like you said too. It's just if you can score a couple times here, that's obviously the key. But I can definitely be talking to that.
There's no motivation. I mean, when I look at these, there's no motivation for Ohio State to go win this game by 40.
No, this isn't a Brian Ferentz situation where you need to get some points added up for your season total deal. They're looking to win the game and keep people healthy to move on. Right.
All right. I'll continue here soon. I only got a couple. I'm gonna take Florida plus 6.5 at home against Tennessee. This is kind of a under the radar rivalry game. I think people are just basing Tennessee being good because they have a number ranked right next to their name. To me, it's just kind of a wait and see. And people remember that first game with Florida against Utah on TV. Granted they didn't look good, but give Florida a little bit of a pass. Like that's kind of a brutal travel spot for them to go across country, right? Not many Florida teams travel clear out to the West Coast to play a game. So with this being a big rivalry, 6.5. I don't know.
So this just missed for me. I'm in a pick 5 college deal too. I have to pick 5 NFL college games. This made my 5. So you can talk me into it now anyway. I'm going to add it to the card because I have it literally scratched out here. I'm going to re-highlight it, add it back to the card. You talked me into it. And for the reasons you just said, it's a rivalry game. You're at home. You get a touchdown with the hook at home. I like it too. I really do.
All right. Yeah. I haven't been – I mean, the SEC kind of looks down, to be honest. So
a little bit. Certainly. I mean, look, Bama got – that game was never in doubt, really. There was some grown men and there was some not some grown men playing that game, And there was a quarterback, and there wasn't a quarterback playing the game. And it was not the teams you expect that usually to be the case for.
No.
So as much as I hate to say it, Sark's got him moving.
Yep. Right. All right, there's a couple for me. What do you got?
So we'll go back to the in-state stuff here too. For the reasons we talked about, I don't love the Iowa spread. I'm not going to touch it though. But I'm going to do what I said I would not do this year and take Iowa and over 42 points in this game versus Western Michigan. I just feel like it's a deal to where, you get your typical defensive score, maybe a special team score. And these first two games, I think they needed week one for them to really get over that point margin. Like this, it sucks they're talking about it. Kirk doesn't want to talk about it either. So they need one of these weeks to go hang 40, 50 on somebody.
Sure.
And this is the last chance to do it.
Yeah, right.
So I think they have to do that. And for that reason, I think they might try to step on the gas a little bit. And look, I could be completely wrong, but I'm going to go the over in the Iowa game at 42 for those reasons.
Okay. I mean, the logic makes sense. I do agree, right? It's became too much of a talking point. I think they probably want to kind of squash it, if they can. And
Kirk doesn't want to talk about it.
Maybe they leave the starters in for a couple drives longer than what they should.
Than they normally would, sure.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm going to take. Well, let's talk about this game. I have to. I have to do it. I got to take Colorado State plus 23.5. You and I are this. If people could have seen our text in the offseason when this Deion hire happened,
loved it.
We were the biggest proponents of this. And, I think he's probably even surprised us a little now at this point, right? Like he has his son can flat out play football, by the way.
His son is he'll be on Sunday. He will be.
But and now the love's a little out of hand. I hope they win.
23.5 points is a lot in state rivalry game.
Yeah.
You know why this did not make my card? Because I kind of agree with you. Did you see what Colorado State's coach said today?
That's Norvell. That's the only reason why.
I talk.
Idiot.
Why? He needed something like this, and you gave it to him. What do you say? Something like grown-ups. When I talk to grown-ups, I take my hat and my glasses.
Yeah, good for you.
Don't talk to Deion.
You're coaching Colorado State, dude. Maybe you should put your hood up. You're horrible.
The only reason I'm just gonna I'm gonna stay off this a little bit is because I do believe in Deion. Like, why give the motivation? I do think Colorado's gonna win the game, but that's a lot of points.
It is a lot of points, and I know, and that is my fear with this now is that if Deion wants to prove a point and it is out of hand, maybe he just keeps throwing it. And I wouldn't put it past Deion to do it.
No, I just don't know if he's gonna have the chance to. I don't think this is that big of a pushover game. Again, like you talk a lot about what would the line have been 2 weeks ago in Vegas.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't gonna be 23.5. It's probably gonna be like 10.
No, right. Well, so I kind of went back. So Colorado State played Washington State, and they were an 8-point dog. Well, that same Washington State just beat Wisconsin last week. So, I mean, it tells you this line's inflated. Not saying Colorado can't get there, but
yeah,
I get
it. I completely get the logic, and I'll probably be trailing that.
All right. They do have Oregon on deck too next week. Big game.
Sure.
To open up Pac-12. So,
give me one more.
All right. We're gonna go back to the Big Ten. I'm gonna lay it with Nebraska minus. I think it's up to 11 now. So I'll just say 11. This just feels like the win one for the boosters.
Yeah. So this was, if I had to play 5 games, this was my 5th. So in my other thing, the Florida and Nebraska were my 2 plays too. I completely agree with you here. You got to win one for the boosters. You got to win convincingly. Let's get it back right. Get everybody feeling good about Rule again. And I think they're easily going to win by 2 touchdowns. I actually really do like this play.
Yeah. I mean, Northern Illinois, like I looked at the stat, like they're not a good running football team. And let's face it, right? I mean, Nebraska did shoot themselves last week. Neither you or I are a fan of this team, but defensively they're good.
It's not bad.
They're not.
Isn't Northern Illinois quarterback that local kid, the Rocky Lombardi kid?
It was. You see, I don't know if he's still there, but yeah, he originally committed to Michigan State, I recall. Yeah, he went to Valley if he's still there. I remember.
I think he's at Northern Illinois now after he left.
Okay.
I think he's. Don't quote me on that, but I want to say he is.
All right. Yeah, I mean this just kind of has like Nebraska might just go out and if they get the opportunity to go put up 35 to 40, you better believe they're going to do it.
Well, I got one play left, and we'll get moving on there. I got Houston plus 7.5 versus TCU. We talked about TCU a little bit. I don't spend much time on that. I just don't. I think it's a little inflated. I think the Cougars are playing pretty good football right now, and at home, getting more than a score. I like that, so I'm going to take Houston plus 7.5 at home.
Okay. I'm going to add one more here for the college slate.
Yep.
I'm going to take Miami of Ohio plus 14.5 at Cincinnati. Cincinnati, I was dead wrong last week against Cincinnati, so they might be my nemesis this year. But I took Pitt since he went in there and just punched him right in the mouth and got the win outright. So I feel like it's kind of an inflated line here. It's kind of an under the radar rivalry here.
Yeah.
So I mean, Miami of Ohio is a respectable school. I just don't know if Cincy is the team that should be probably laying double digits in this game, just given the spot that they're coming off that big road win. So I think it's a good spot to kind of fade them. So I'm going to take Miami of Ohio plus 14.5.
All right. Is that your last play?
Yeah, that's my last one.
All right. Well, I'll run through our picks here quick. And then we'll get into a word from our sponsors. But I have 4 plays. Iowa State -3, Iowa over 42, Houston plus 7.5, and Florida plus 6.5. I have Small with 6 plays with Iowa State -3, Western Kentucky plus 29.5, Florida 6.5, Colorado State getting 23 in the hook, Nebraska -11, and Miami of Ohio plus 14.5. So that'll wrap it up for us this week with our college plays. And before we get into our main course, which is the NFL, let's hear from a word from our sponsors at Revelton.
At Revelton Distilling Company, everyone has become a part of the Revelton family. From the Taylors and their daughter who helped perfect their award-winning gins, to the team who installed Lucy, our 33-foot-tall custom-made still, right down to the local farms that provide our coveted corn, and even the cows on those farms who consume our mash byproduct. Want to see the farm to flask come to life? Now you can tour Lucy and find out where we take Iowa's harvest and transform it into our finest spirits. Choose between a 45-minute tour or find out even more by scheduling a VIP behind-the-scenes tour to get the taste of the full Revelton experience. You can visit them at 1400 West Clay Street in Osceola, Iowa, or find all of Revelton's award-winning spirits at any local grocery or spirits retailer.
Thanks again to our sponsors there from Revelton Distilling Company. Again, I'm Ted Hawley. I'm back here with Justin Small as always. We're back for Season 4, Episode 2 at our brand new home with Three Beards Media. We're pumped. Last week, individually, we both went 3-2 on our NFL picks. And again, we went 5-0 in our circa combined picks. Feeling pretty good about all of it. Again, I had a hammer last week. I kept sending you the updates on round robin.
Oh, that was awesome. Yep. I know. I was telling people this week, I was like, if I were like really smart, I'd just take the rest of the year off, but I'm not that smart.
That's too much fun.
Right.
My big whiff last week was the Giants. That was embarrassing. And
yeah.
I faded them the whole last year too. So that's one team just got to stay away from. But
yeah, they for sure laid an egg.
So what we're going to do this year, we talked about a little bit. If you want our individual picks, we're going to you have to listen to the show to get all those. But before kick, we will give our circa picks, at least for this time being, on the socials on Twitter. So if you check in before game time, we will pop off those picks. But tune into us every week, and we will give you the reasons why we think what we do.
Yep.
Agree with it, disagree with it, but we'll tell you why we think what we do. So let's just jump right back into it this week. I have 5 plays again.
Okay. Go right ahead. Give me your first.
I'm not going to play the game tonight. I did catch Minnesota early. I got it at 7.5 early.
I drew a little bit early on it myself. So
yeah, so it's down to 6 now. So I'm staying away from it now. 7.5 was way too many for me on a quick turnaround Thursday night game. I don't think. Look, Philly didn't look great, but Minnesota looked probably as bad as they could have.
Hurts was rusty, man.
Yeah, he definitely was. So we'll see. But I'm going to start with look, man, I told you early, you're on the downside with the Titans. You got an old quarterback that can't play anymore, And you have Derrick Henry, who I think might have got out-snapped or completely had a complete like timeshare with that rookie they took. I think Henry was only in on like 50 or 53% of the running plays. I have to go back and check again. But I think the Chargers, in a must-win after that loss last week, are going to come in and thump Tennessee in Tennessee. So I'm going to take the Chargers -3.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a particularly great feel. I just know that Vrabel as a dog is like scary good.
He's a great coach. I'm not sure he has the dogs, the guys that do it this year. It's kind of a team that missed their window a little bit. They're not quite in full tank mode yet. They're kind of in like, are we rebuilding? Are we not? Right. I think it might just shift it that way. He made a comment about the quarterback situation this week too. That Tannehill starts 0-2. There might be an early pull or hook on him week 3.
Yeah, no, I get that. Let's see. I do 2 lines that I actually got early, and for the show, for transparency, we won't use it because I'll go off the lines that are in Circa, but I am going to. It's now -1. I actually grabbed him at a dog, but I'm going to lay it with the Falcons -1 over the Pack, and I just think the narrative from last week. I mean, the Packers first own the Bears. The Bears defense is nowhere near what this Falcons defense is.
Sure.
Falcons vastly improved this defense this offseason. We saw it last week.
I told you preseason, this is my team that I love. The Vikings were my team last year, and I said I love what Art's doing in Atlanta. I do.
Yeah. So, I mean, they, I hope they kind of open up a little bit more for Ritter. But I just think this is a different test. It's back-to-back road games. Green Bay's kind of feeling a little fat and happy. I got a nice division win, start the year on the road. This line as of yesterday was actually like Green Bay was -1.5, and then all of a sudden, you saw some money come in here today and move this sucker. So I'll still lay it with the Falcons in a short. Which I feel like the betting public's going to be all over Green Bay just because of last week alone.
Sure. And just for my preseason feelings alone, I'm going to stay away from this game, so I want to wait and see on love. Sure. But this should be a good football game, just to kind of tell you where both teams are at. And if Atlanta comes out and smacks these guys, it's going to say more about the Falcons than it will about the Packers, I think. But all right, I think I'm going to go back to a team that was weird. The Broncos last week. It felt a little better offensively, but then it didn't. We've had 3 kickers since 1993 going into this year. We had Jason Elam, then Matt Prater, and then Brandon McManus. And 2 of the 3 are still active in the NFL. And neither of them are on our team. And I wish one of them still was because Prater and McManus can both still kick.
Yeah, lots.
It was bad last week. We'll see. But I think I do like Washington a little bit this year. I just think this is a bad spot. I don't know how Howell's going to play on the road a little bit. I'm going to like Washington a lot at home this year. On the road, we're going to have to see a little bit. So I'm actually going to take Broncos with 3 in the hook. It's a big hook. I wish it was 3. But I think it's just a spot for Peyton in a bounce-back deal that he's got to get it done, and I think he will. So I'm going to take the Broncos, my Broncos, at -3.5.
Yeah, I don't hate this at all, actually, either. I mean, I think, Peyton for sure – you've kind of alluded to it, right? But he wants to kind of make his imprint. But I think he knows here, like you have back-to-back home games. You just can't afford to let this one get away. Yep. It's a big thing early. So I totally get where you're coming from here. All right, I'm gonna take the Bears +2.5.
You told me you were gonna do this.
Yep, one of the ugliest plays of the week. So I've already talked about the Pack. I mean, I get it. Look, trust me, the Bears defensively are no good.
They're really bad defensively.
They are.
Which usually you don't have to say about the Bears. They're bad. They're very soft.
They are no good. But look, the Tampa Bay was like 3.6 yards per play on offense last week. It was no good. I mean, they just benefited from all those turnovers. And it was, I would argue, is probably the biggest misleading final of the week of any team last week. So I just think they're getting a little too much love for me here, coming off that win. I do not like that. I mean, look, I love Baker, but
so I don't think he's got it. I think he's a back-end transition guy quarterback. He's never going to be a franchise guy. I think he's there. I was hoping he had a chance to be a Kirk Cousins type, even a Derek Carr. I don't think he is.
Yeah, I just think there's so last week the Bears were actually favored by 1.
Yeah, which I hammered
coming into this game, and I mean, well, so against Tampa, even the look at headline here was like Chicago favored. Now we just saw, like I said, Tampa gets a fluky win, and the Bears, quote unquote, look horrible,
Sure.
and all of a sudden it's just that narrative, right? So, give me the Bears. It's ugly. No one wants any part of this, and
I don't know if I can bet the Bears yet. I can promise you, I'm not going to allow you to let us put that on the Circa Pick 5. But I'll cheer for you here, as I will not have a dog in this fight either. I'm definitely not going on the other side. This is another kind of wait. Actually, both your plays right now are wait and sees for me. But I don't hate the logic behind either of them.
Okay.
I'm going to go to a battle of the rookie quarterbacks for my third play.
You have – okay. I have this game. I know the game.
Hey, I wonder if we're on the same side. And I'm going to go with the quarterback that I like better. And I think it's Anthony Richardson.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the Colts on the road. They're 1-point favorites on the road is what I got them at, -1. And I just think the Colts actually had a chance to win that game last week, and then fluke. I was on the Jag side, so I was happy about it. You weren't so much.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to be able to do enough. I don't know how good the Texans are yet. I just don't. It's a new, anytime you got a rookie starting and then a rookie head coach that's a defensive head coach, it seems like this stalls a little bit longer to get them going that way. And that's why I kind of like what's his name?
Ryans.
No, D'Amico Ryans, but the Colts head coach, the OC from
I
almost said Sirianni. It's not. It's that's
yeah. Well, can't think of it either.
The OC last year from Philly. I can't think of it right now either. But that's the reason I like this game a little bit. I think he'll put him in a little better situation than that too. And Stroud didn't look very good last week. So for that reason, I'm going to take the Colts on the road and battle the rookie quarterbacks.
Sure. All right. Yeah. So this line's flipped. Believe it or not, it's now the Texans -1.5.
You're joking me. So right now right now I can get the Colts at +1.5.
Yeah. So that's the other line that's flipped.
It is right now. So right now I'll take the Colts at +1.5. That's what I mean.
Yeah. So that line's flipped.
Both sites I have up right now have it at that. That is completely flipped. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I say probably why the Texans are getting a little like they did play the Ravens, right? Ravens have a pretty good defense. So and they actually hung tough. I think it was a 3-point game here at half. So they didn't look crazy good. They didn't end up
Texans.
No. I like the Colts too. The only thing that's a hair scary is that line, the line move.
Sure.
So I don't quite understand it, but so I'm gonna ride this team again. I just think it's a massive overreaction. I'm gonna take the Jets +9.5 with Zach Wilson at Dallas.
This also made my card, so I'm completely with you on this.
Okay, so this will be in our pick 5 then for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I mean, quite honestly, for the listeners, like if there's a primetime blowout and a team looks as good as they look, I just fade them the next week. Period.
I would love to see the stats on it, but you're complete, right? I mean, look, it was fluky anyway. The Giants got the ball first and drove it right down their throats. It had like a 3rd and 6 from the 12, and then a bad snap over their head, and then a blocked kick. They got ran back for a touchdown.
Right.
And then another pick 6, and the game was just over.
It was over. Right. So you're just getting an inflated number here, an overreaction because of the Aaron Rodgers news. But look,
that defense is for real.
I 100% agree.
The Jets defense is for real. And look, they're not going to ask. This isn't some new quarterback either. They know what they have in Zach Wilson. They're not going to go out and ask him to do too much. You have a bunch of good backs there. You have 3 very, very good backs that are probably starting running backs for.
Yeah.
I mean, Brees can start for anybody. And the other 2 guys can start. I mean, Dalvin can start for half your teams, and Michael Carter can probably start for a handful of teams too. Yeah. So I'm with you here. I see this being a 1-score game. I mean, I actually love this game. It's one of my favorite plays too. So
I think this is a scary. Me personally, I think this is a scary game if you're playing Dallas and Survivor. I think it's scary. I think
seriously, Small. I think there's a better chance, and this will probably make me dumb. I think there's a better chance the Jets win this game than don't cover.
Oh yeah, I'm on board. I can't.
We'll be sprinkling some money line in plays. I
was trying to find like the survivors, and everyone obviously gravitates to those big numbers. And I'm like, I can't get there with Dallas, man. This game scares me.
And Dallas is loaded too. Look, there's some dudes on that defense as well. I should have checked the over under on that too, because if there's too many points, I could see this being super low scoring, which also plays to our favor when the spread's 9.5.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. So I'm glad you're on board here. That'll for sure make our card then.
Cool. So I just have one play left, and that's 4 plays for me. Why don't you give me how many you got left?
I got a couple here.
Let's go.
Okay. I'm gonna go Sunday night. I'm gonna take the Patriots +3 at home against the Dolphins. Last week, I mean, really, the Patriots had a brutal start and they hung tough and actually had a chance even to win that game against Philly.
This play just missed for me.
Okay, so they were 4.5, 3, or call it 4, generally speaking, around when the game went off. I mean, now their price in Miami is almost the same as Philly. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Plus, the Miami situation, they just played in the West Coast against the Chargers in LA. Now you're going, like, that's a major – I know it's just week 2, but that's a huge cross-country road trip to start the season.
I'm telling you right now, if the Patriots come win this game and you're on the right side of this, that division is now wide open.
Oh, well, 100%. I've already said the Bills ain't making the playoffs. There's no chance.
I'm talking, dude. I'm right with you now too. The Bills have a chance to be 0-2 after this week.
Are you going there?
I'm not.
Okay.
But I think there's just enough going on in Buffalo that has me going.
Yeah.
No. Like Josh Allen's demeanor this week at the podium, I did not like that. He has to bounce back this week. He has to bounce back.
Yeah, I just New England's D is good enough, man. They're going to keep it. Belichick knows the importance here. Miami got their win. You know, and the other thing too in Miami is that Belichick's going to have his stereotypical. He's going to have his typical like 13-play 6-minute drives and just keep Tua and Tyreek.
He's going to play messed up football. He's going to like it. So
yeah. Right.
Now look, you got to have somebody emerge as a playmaker in New England a little bit. Whether that's Juju. Whether somebody's got to step up. I mean, Hunter Henry looked great. I snagged him on. He was still available in a bunch of fantasy leagues. I got him in 2 leagues off the waivers this week. He was the number 1 tight end, I think, last week. I don't expect that, but there's a really good chance he could be a TE1 this year. Top 9 to 12 guy for sure. I think he can get enough touches in that offense to kind of finally make a difference on that. But no, the Raiders +9 just missed for me. I think the Raiders are alive this week, though.
I hope I would love to go in here and steal this one. I just couldn't get there. I probably give too much credit to some of these quote unquote the elite types, the top 10 quarterbacks to have a bounce back. But
look, Josh Allen, you have to take care of the football.
Like, and he hasn't.
You know what? It's not even the turnovers as much for me as it is on 1st and 10, and you can go out of bounds or get down for a 2-yard gain, and you try to jump over into somebody to get an extra yard to get to 2nd and 7 instead of 2nd and 8. What are you doing?
Yeah,
you've been in the league too long now, and I've been a big Josh Allen guy for a while, but I'm starting to sour on him a little bit. Like, you have to be better than that.
I called that fumble last week.
I'm with you. So I'm not playing that game, but yeah, it's the Patriots +3. I can be talking to that. I just missed.
All right.
Give me one more.
I'm going to lay here. This is generally not what I do, but I'm going to lay it with the Chiefs -3 at Jacksonville here. Oh, no, you're opposite.
No, I'm not opposite, but if I had to pick a game, it wouldn't be this side.
No, okay. I know the Chiefs looked horrible, and I get it. But just give me the guy who knows the importance of not avoiding that 0-2 start.
Oh, it's a big deal. But on the flip side of this, Trevor Lawrence has been maybe the best quarterback in the league the last 10 games he's played.
He's been playing. I mean, he's played great.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You want to put your stamp on, hey, this is my time now.
Yeah.
You go put the Chiefs 0-2.
Right.
And you, with that division you're in, you get to 2-0 with the win over Kansas City. You own a tiebreaker there now too.
Sure.
You are charging down a really good chance to have home field to the playoffs. Seriously.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that.
What if Kelsey doesn't play?
What's that?
What if Kelsey doesn't play?
That's
a big deal to me in this game because he makes
I agree.
a big difference with that offense.
Yeah, I mean, if Kelsey doesn't, I still just think so. Here's the other part of this is like Andy Reid, historically speaking, off a bye. Now, granted, it's a mini bye, right? Because they played the Thursday night game, so they didn't play on Sunday.
Sure. But he is great with extra time, though.
Yes, you give him extra time, and especially extra time off a loss. I don't have the stats, but I just guarantee over time, like his record's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Extra time off a loss, right? And so I'm just pretty much basing it off of that, quite frankly, and Mahomes.
Look, I don't hate this. And look, the Chiefs, I'm done betting against Mahomes. That's why this couldn't make my card. Like, my brain really wants to make me go Jacksonville here, but I can't. And your logic is the reason why you're explaining it, so I get it. Chiefs -3.
All right.
I got one play left, and this is me with the overreaction again, too. Look, the Lions did beat the Chiefs, but the Chiefs looked really bad. Look, the Lions, what they're supposed to do, they came in, they won the game. Yep. Seattle looked awful last week. They looked awful.
Awful. That's an understatement.
They're not going to be that awful again.
Yeah.
Week one, the NFL always gets so drunk and people jump on or quit people way too early. Typically, if you think somebody's really, really good the first week or really, really bad the first week, you don't know yet. You're going to find out more. And usually it's this week when you find out. I think this line is overinflated at 5.5. That is way too many points for this game. I think Seattle at Detroit is going to come in and make this under a one-score game, potentially even live here. But Lions by a field goal, I can see that. So I love Seattle getting 5.5 here on the road.
Yeah, no, I'm on board with you here on this one. I'm not going to put it on the card, but I think this is probably going to make in our circa millions for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you here. It's the classic, just
it's an overreaction line. You got housed by the Rams.
Yeah.
They had a whole offseason to go on Geno and that stuff to get ready for this. You had a month coming into it. So
yep. And so along that side, I got one more.
All right.
And it's the overreaction, in my opinion, too. I'm going to take the Steelers on Monday night plus 2.5 against the Browns. So last week the Niners were just laying 2.5.
I lied to you. I skipped this game. This is on my card too. I had this game too.
Okay.
We had, this is the one game we actually talked about in the chat group. So what you said too.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's too much. It's an overreaction again.
Yeah.
And you think the Steelers are really going to be home favorites? Or start 0-2 with 2 games at home? I don't see that.
No, I don't need. Not with Tomlin. With Tomlin. Kenny Pickett looked horrible. Everything about the Steelers right from the get-go, right? They were just done from the beginning. And I just don't think it's going to be the case here. Pittsburgh has owned the Browns. It's just like the Browns have owned the Bengals. There's weird stuff like this that just happens in the NFL for no other reason, right?
Yeah.
And I just think Pittsburgh here at home and Monday night on prime time, Tomlin in the dog spot.
They're going to win the game.
Yeah, I think so too.
I told you too. I had the Browns under season wins, and we were both on the Browns last week. They made our card, but
yeah, I actually like the Browns this year.
Yeah, and you like the Browns this year too. But this is just a spot game with Tomlin and Pittsburgh the way it is. They're going to find a way to get this done. I really do think they're going to win the football game.
Okay, yeah. So this probably sounds like this might make our card too.
Oh, it definitely is. So it sounds like for both of us, we're going to have, since we're both on the Steelers and we both on.
I think we got Seattle and the Jets.
So we have the Jets too. So yeah. So I have 6 plays for my week. Looks like you have 6 plays as well. You have any more?
No, that's my last one.
Cool. Well, that's actually 6 is usually heavy for us. Well, heavy for me anyway. Not you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have 9 plays.
Right. True.
But I'll run through our plays here quick. I got the Chargers -3, the Broncos -3 in the hook, Indianapolis +1.5. Seattle +5.5, the Jets +9.5, and the Steelers +2.5. I got 6 plays for you as well, Justin. I got Atlanta -1, Chicago +2.5, the Jets +9.5, the Patriots +3, the Chiefs -3, and the Steelers +2.5. Like I mentioned before, we will put up our circa picks before the games kick on Sunday. I'm actually in the back room of a car dealership in Denison, Iowa right now. I gotta go draft my team for our Calcutta golf tournament in Denison on Sunday.
Oh, nice.
We won't get to watch very much football this week, as my little sister's getting married on Saturday too. So
nice.
I'll have to spend a lot of time on Monday recapping stuff and actually watching stuff. So a lot of phone watching for me this weekend.
Right.
It should be good. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we can stay hot and get you guys some more picks. Got anything else to add for this week?
No, let's just have another winning week, man.
All right. Well, again, we're really happy to be here with Three Beards Media, our second episode with the company here. Thank you to our sponsors at Revelton. And as always, I'm Ted. He's Small. Cash that ticket.